Let's talk about Sunderland. This club has been on a remarkable rise in recent years. Following back-to-back relegations in 2017 and 2018, they dropped down to League One. However, now they've managed to bounce back strongly by rebuilding their squad with tons of youth talent, with most notably Jobe Bellingham and homegrown talent Christopher Rigg shining in this season's championship campaign. So today I'm going to be taking on the challenge of returning Sunderland to the Premier League and bring their youth talents to the pinnacle of football. By the end of today's rebuild, we're going to bring football to the Stadium of Light by lifting the Champions League trophy for the first time in club history. Make sure you like and subscribe. Now let's start rebuilding the Black Cats.
A warm welcome to you all. Without further delay, we are pleased to introduce your new manager.
Now with all that out of the way, this is the initial starting Sunderland squad. We got Patterson in goals, then the oldest man in the team, O'Neill, at 29 years of age. I didn't realise how youthful this team actually was until I checked all their ages. We got Hume at right back at 22 years of age. Very solid back line here for the championship. Then star boy Jobe Bellingham in midfield, only 18 years of age, alongside Neil. I believe the midfield is the talking point of this team. We got so much talent in here. Bellingham, Neil, and Rigg, who we spoke about in the intro, 17 years of age with a 69 overall. Then the attack is looking pretty decent as well. We got Roberts on the right there, Isidore up front. However, Watson, I think we're going to have to replace him. We're going to make some signings because Mr. Rebuild isn't too impressed at the moment, and we'll see what we can cook up in the transfer window. And just like that, our first signing of the rebuild is secured and in the bag. I went and picked up Spanish wonder kid from Real Betis, Dialdiune, for a fee of 4.7 million euros, which is insane value for the future player we're getting ourselves. He's going to slide right into that left mid position, as that's where I reckon our weakness lies. Let's hope that adding even more youth to this team can help us take on the championship giants. Next up, we're going to be further strengthening our attack, and we've done so by going for the signing of Turkish gem Semih Kılıçsoy. I managed to pick up the Turkish wonder kid from Besiktas for a fee of 2 million plus our striker, so he's off to Turkey. Now with our new 72 rated striker, hopefully we can score some more goals in Season 1 in the Championship. So this is how we're going to go lining up into Season 1. Patterson is in goals. The sharpness, don't worry about that. It's because we haven't played in a while. Onion and Ballard at the back there at 73 and 72. Then our fullbacks at 71 and 73 for Cirkin and Hume. Then we got new star boy Dialdiune there at left mid. I can't wait to see how he goes in the championship. Jobe Bellingham, who are position changing to a CDM. Then Neil here at 73. I've made Chris Rigg a right mid now, because Roberts actually gets a rating increase when you move him to cam, so I did that. And also we signed Kılıçsoy, as you guys know. He's at a 73 after we position changed him. So let's go to the end of the season to see how he did in Season 1. Season 1 draws to a close and Sunderland finish in a respectable 10th place finish, so it's a top half of the table finish. We're close to the playoffs, but next season I think we'll be able to achieve that. Burnley win the league on 97 points. In the FA Cup, that was won by Spurs 4-3 on penalties against Liverpool. In the Carabao Cup, Arsenal defeat Man United 1-0. In the Championship playoffs to determine that third spot, Luton Town take down Coventry in a 7-goal thriller to gain promotion to the Premier League. In the Champions League, PSV beat Aston Villa in one of the weirdest Champions League finals I've ever seen on career mode. Who did PSV beat, by the way? They beat Inter in the semi-finals. They knocked out Bayern in the quarters and then also took down Brest in the round of 16, so impressive run from them. In the Europa League, Spurs go and win another trophy, beating Porto 3-1, and in the Conference League, Chelsea beat Vitória 4-0. Now taking a look at the top scorers, Aaron Connolly was our top scorer despite us signing this lad over here, Kılıçsoy, who got 8 goals and 3 assists in 37 appearances. He grew by a +3, so it's not bad growth from him, but I expected him to score a few more goals. Dan Neil with 11 goals and 4 assists for the English midfielder, who is also now at a 76. Dialdiune with an impressive first season return, as we signed him for 5 million. 9 goals and 6 assists is pretty decent for the Spanish winger. Jobe Bellingham with 7 and 3, so decent from the CDM position. Let's see, now that we've had some growth in Season 1 and some time for this team to gel, if we can gain promotion to the Premier League. The board have done us a little bit dirty. I was expecting a bit of a budget increase, however they've only given me 6 mil, so I've gone and blown it all on the signing of Lorenzo Pirola. The Italian centre-back at Greek outfit Olympiacos, now at 73 overall, is going to join a young and promising team. As a youngster himself, he's going to replace 30-year-old O'Neill, who's not going to grow anymore and is at 72 rated. So this is how we're going to line up going into Season 2. We've got Patterson now to 75, the back line looking pretty good. Pirola, our new signing, our lowest rated, but he's going to grow because he's got tons of potential. The midfield, the standout part, as I said before, Nil and Bellingham at 76 and 75. Then we got winger Dialdiune at 75 at only 19 years of age, so expect more from him this season. Rigg at 73 already, so he's grown by a +4. And then Kilishoy, our youngster up front, at a 76. I expect big things from this team. When you look at their ratings, let's see if we can get promotion to the Premier League. And as Season 2 comes to a close, Sunderland find themselves in 4th place, collecting 84 points across the season. Southampton with 111 points to win the championship. In the FA Cup, that was won by Chelsea, as Hull City managed to reach the final. In the Carabao Cup, West Ham defeat Aston Villa following a 3-3 draw, however West Ham win on penalties. In the championship playoffs, we won that and defeat Coventry to go to the Premier League as we win the most expensive match in world football. In the semi-finals, we took down Sheffield to reach the final, and Coventry City won on a penalty shootout against Brentford. In the Champions League, Bayern Munich defeat Milan 2-0 in the final. The Europa League was won by Arsenal 2-0 versus Napoli, and the Conference League was won by Lyon 1-0 against Fiorentina. Now this season sees Kilishoy have a much better season. He's grown into his role, he's adapted, and now he's scored 22 goals and 3 assists in 53 appearances. Now at a 79, the Turkish striker is ready to take on the Premier League. Dialdiune now at a 78, he got himself 12 goals and 6 assists in 45 appearances, so a decent return from the Spanish winger. Dan Neil with 11 goals and 10 assists from the CDM role, so a great output from our defensive midfielder. Patrick Roberts, who I don't think he's going to be here for much longer considering the way we do things here, with 11 goals and 3 assists. This guy who came off the bench quite a lot, so I'm happy with this. I might even play him, who knows. Jobe Bellingham with 5 and 5 in 53, not too bad. Now that we're in the Premier League, we should have a budget increase, so let's go make some signings and see what we can cook. And just like that, our next signing in the rebuild is officially complete. We've secured Can Uzun, the 20-year-old Turkish talent from Eintracht Frankfurt, for a fee of 18 million euros. It's a significant investment, but the talent we're getting is absolutely worth it. Uzun is a creative powerhouse and he's set to step straight into the cam role, replacing Roberts and adding a fresh spark to our attack. At just 20, he's already showing glimpses of brilliance, and with his flair and technical ability, is the perfect player to help us take on the Premier League's toughest defences. And just like that, we've made another massive move in the rebuild. Jurrien Timber joins us from Arsenal for a fee of 25 million just at 25 years old, bringing elite quality and versatility to our backline. Timber is the perfect replacement for Pirola, who will now provide as valuable depth as we push for greatness. I know I only signed him last season, but I still feel like we need to improve our backline, and now with Timber, we've done exactly that. So this is how we're going to line up going into Season 3. We've got Patterson now at a 79. Our backline is looking really good as we've now signed Timber. We've got Hume at 79, Ballard at 78, and Cirkin at 77. Dialdiune at a 79 now, so this guy is starting to take off, as well as Jobe Bellingham and Neil, who join him at that 79 overall in our midfield. We've got Rigg at 76 at 19 years of age. So much potential for this guy. I can't wait to see how he goes in the Prem. New signing Uzun there at camp, and Kilishoy, his Turkish partner, who's going to be leading the line at a 79. Let's see how this team goes in their first season in the Premier League. So we've just time travelled to the end of Season 3, and Sunderland have finished smack bang in the middle of the Premier League table. 10th place, 54 points, respectable first season, back in the top flight. Spurs win the Premier League on 86 points. In the FA Cup, that was won by Brighton 1-0 against Leicester City in the final. In the Carabao Cup, Arsenal beat Liverpool 6-5 on penalties. And in the Champions League, Barcelona beat Real Madrid in the El Clasico 2-0. In the Europa League, Aston Villa defeat Spurs 4-1 on penalties, and in the Conference League, Napoli beat Valencia 3-2. It looks like it's another season of Kilishoy just doing his thing with 27 goals and 7 assists in 45 appearances. The Turkish striker will not stop finding the back of the net. Now at an 82 overall, He is looking to be a great striker for this team in the future. Uzun, his Turkish partner, with 14 goals and 2 assists in 46 appearances from the cam position. Not too bad for the 21-year-old. Jobe Bellingham with 7 goals in 43 appearances, so that's okay from the CDM position. And Dan Neil, who's always had great outputs as the captain, now with 4 goals and 7 assists. Diune with 9 goal contributions in 40 appearances, now at the age of 21. This team is cooking up something special with a top half of the table finish in their first season back. I wouldn't even be surprised if we can go on for Europe next season. Now, as an established Premier League side, we're going to need some established Premier League players. So I've gone for none other than Trevor Chalobah, who we picked up from Chelsea for a cheeky little fee of 21 million euros. He's going to be replacing Ballard in the centre back position, as I reckon we're quite leaky at the back last season. Hopefully with this signing we should tighten up at the back and keep some more clean sheets. Our second signing of season 4 is going to be yet another defender, as I went and picked up Fabiano Parisi from Fiorentina. The Italian left back is going to join the Black Cats on a fee of 23 million euros and replacing Cirkin in the squad. Now at an 82 overall, I feel like he's the final piece of the puzzle for our defence going into our second season in the Premier League. So this is how the lads will line up in season 4 of today's rebuild. Patterson now at an 80 rated in goals, our defence all in the 80s, with our standout being Jurrien Timber at an 83, new signing Parisi there at an 82, Diune, Bellingham and Neil all joining him at that same rating in the midfield. Rigg still going strong at an 80 overall at only 20 years of age, Kilishoy at 21 years of age at an 82 overall, and his Turkish partner Uzun at a 79. I'm excited to see what this squad can do this season, especially with the enforcements that we've brought in. Can we go for Europe? Can we even go for Champions League? Let's find out at the end of season 4. It is the end of season 4 and Sunderland have managed to wrap up a 6th place finish, which is not too bad for the Black Cats, about where I expected them to finish at the start of the season. They managed to collect 67 points, with Liverpool winning the league, tying with City on 79 points. In the FA Cup, Chelsea defeat Man City, which I think will demote us to the Conference League because they finished below us, so hopefully that doesn't happen. In the Carabao Cup, West Ham defeat Crystal Palace 3-1. In the Champions League, that was won by Barcelona as they took down PSG 5-3 on penalties. In the Europa League, that was won by Villarreal as they took down Juve in the final, and the Conference League was won by Bologna 1-0 against Arsenal. Now we had a change at the top of the top scorers list as we had Uzun take the reins off Kilishoy as he got 20 goals and 8 assists in 49 appearances, now at an 83 overall. The Turkish lads are absolutely cooking, as now, as you can see, 19 goals and 5 assists for the Turkish striker. This partnership is forming and I love to see it. Diune at an 84 now with 14 goals and 9 assists for the Spanish winger. Rigg with 9 and 4 getting in there from the right mid position at 21 years of age. So when you look at his rating and his age, you can definitely tell this kid is on for greatness in the future. Jobe Bellingham with 7 goals and 4 assists in 48 appearances, now at an 86. So he's getting towards the territory of his brother. Going into season 5, we've got European football, but can we go one step further? Can we win the Europa League? Can we qualify for the Champions League? So many questions to be answered, and you're going to find out in season 5. Now, as we move on to season 5, we've got ourselves European duties to serve, so why not start off with a much needed upgrade to our goalkeeper position. I went and bought in Konstantinos Tsolakis from Real Sociedad for a fee of 34 million euros, which I would say is a decent buy for a 25-year-old goalkeeper who is still yet to reach his prime. Now at an 83 overall, he's going to replace Patterson and be given the nod in goals. Hopefully this signing should help us as we take on the challenges of fighting in Europe. Now next up, I've managed to pull off an absolute weldy of a deal here, as I managed to grab the signature of Martin Fernandes from AC Milan on the cheap, as his contract is set to expire at the end of the season. As a result, we only paid 30 million euros for the services of the Portuguese fullback, which is an absolute bargain. He's going to be replacing Hume at the right back position at an 81 overall. However, he has 86 potential, and with dynamic potential, I reckon he can thrive in our defence. So this is how we are going to line up going into the 5th season of our Sunderland rebuild. Solarkis in goals, our new signing at 25 years of age. He's 83 overall, so I'm excited to see how this guy goes. New signing for Nanch there at right back, 22 years old with 86 potential, so expect this guy to grow a lot. I'm happy with the growth with Timber so far, so I'm expecting good things from him. As we move into our midfield, it's stacked. This partnership is so exciting going into the Europa League because they're just always scoring goals when we look at the squad hub, so I want to see how they go. Diune, he's still got so much to show, and our star boy up front, Kilishoy, at 22 years of age, 85 overall. Let's see if we can wrap up Champions League this season. After a strong season last season, can we go one step further? Let's find out. So we've arrived at the end of Season 5 and Sunderland have finished in 2nd place, which means Champions League football is coming to the Stadium of Light in Season 6. We lost by 4 points to Man City, but that's fine. We got Champions League. In the FA Cup, Man City win that on penalties after drawing 2-2 with United. In the Carabao Cup, West Ham beat Chelsea 3-1. In the Champions League, that was won by PSG on pens against Man City. The Europa League was won by Marseille in a 6-goal thriller against Arsenal, and the Conference League was won by Lech Poznan 2-1 against West Ham. And once again, in terms of our top scorer, it's Kilishoy with 18 goals and 3 assists. When you think about it, that's not a great season, but still 16 goals in the Premier League, you cannot complain with that output. However, Uzun with 15 goals and 10 assists from the cam position, having a very productive season. Then we've got Rigg here at an 86 overall with 13 goals and 3 assists, so I'm happy with the 21-year-old this season. Diune next up with 10 goals and 9 assists, and also now at an 86. So these two here, our winger partnership is going to be deadly going into the Champions League. Then we've got Jobe Bellingham at an 89, nearly at the starting overall of his brother. I'm excited to see how we can go in the Champions League next season. Will we get some more money to work with? I hope so. Let's find out. You will not believe your eyes. Rub them if you need to, just to make sure you're seeing things right. The Bellingham brothers are reunited, and the stage could not be bigger. Jobe Bellingham, one of world football's brightest stars, has joined Sunderland to link up with his younger brother Jobe, with the Black Cats now set to embark on their Champions League journey. Jude's arrival for 220 million from Real Madrid signals a new era of ambition and greatness for the club. His partnership with Jobe, combined with our already insane squad, creates a team ready to take on Europe's elite clubs. The Bellingham legacy begins a new chapter at the Stadium of the Light, and the world of football will be watching. Because I just spent 240 million on Bellingham, that means we have no more money to spend on the rest of the squad. I just wanted to make this storyline of the Bellingham bros linking up at Sunderland, and I reckon it's going to be amazing. We've got Kilishoy at 87 up front, 94 rated Bellingham at cam. I reckon he's going to carry us this season. Then our wingers Diune and Rigg at an 86. Our DMs at both 89 rated, with Jobe Bellingham of course at CDM. And then our defense is probably the weakest part of our team, I would say. However, I still think it's good enough to maybe win the Premier League, but we want to go one step further and go for the Champions League in Season 6. And as Season 6 finishes, that sees Sunderland finally win the Premier League. The trophy is now back at the Stadium of Light for the 7th time in their history, as we beat Aston Villa by 1 point. And if you actually take a look there on the left, it went down to final match day. As you can see, Chelsea drew with City, which means they could not win the Premier League, and Villa drew with Arsenal, which means they bottled it to us. We were in 3rd and we won it in the end. In the Community Shield, we beat Man City as we took them down 3-2. In the FA Cup, that was won by Arsenal 1-0 against Villa. The Carabao Cup was won by City as they beat Forest 4-0. Our run was ended in the semis as we bottled it after having a 4-2 lead. In the Champions League, that was won by PSG 1-0 against Liverpool. The Europa League was won by Inter 1-0 against Union Berlin, and the Conference League was won by Villa 2-0 against Sevilla. And it looks like Kilishoy has found his scoring form once again with 30 goals and 8 assists in 60 appearances. The now 24-year-old is now at an 88 overall, and he's approaching that 90 rated world class level. As for Jobe Bellingham, he's already achieved that feat. Now at a 95, he's grown by a +1, 25 goals and 6 assists for the English midfielder. Chris Rigg with 22 goals and 11 assists, putting in his best season yet so far. 33 goal contributions in 61, not too shabby for the English winger. And Diune with 10 goals and 13 assists from the left. Now that we're in pot 1, I think we can go on to win the Champions League because we'll have easier opponents in the league phase. Let's see if this hopefully plays into our favour and if we can lift some more silverware in Season 7. Welcome along to Season 7, which is going to see us welcoming Castello Luqueba to Sunderland. The French centre-back joins us from Bournemouth for a fee of 60 million euros, which I reckon is an absolute bargain of a deal. He's going to be replacing Chalobah in the starting 11 as he's going to be dropping down to the bench to serve as depth. Now at an 87 overall, I'm sure that this signing is going to propel us forward in this season's Champions League. For our second signing of Season 7, I've decided that our left back position is going to need improvement if we're gunning for that Champions League. I went and bought in Alphonso Davies from Spurs for a fee of 81 million euros in order to replace Parisi, who's going to be dropping down to the bench. Now that we have Fonzie in our team, let's hope that he can win trophies again just like at Bayern and go for that Champions League. Season 7 lineup is our best yet, well, quite obviously. We've got Salakis in goals at 85 overall, then our backline is much improved compared to last season because of our reinforcements of Luqueba and Davies, now who are both at 87. It's Timber at 86, our lowest rated defender, and Fernandes, who has shot up to an 88. As you can remember, we signed him when he was like 81. Then as we look at our midfield, Nil and Bellingham, who are both into the 90s and still so young for their rating, it's insane as well. With Jude obviously 95 at 27 years old. Then our wingers both at an 89 and Kilishoy, who leads the line at an 88. This team in pot 1 should be able to make it quite far into the Champions League, so let's find out how they do. So with that, Season 7 is done and dusted, and Sunderland have finished in 3rd place, so we couldn't go back to back and win the Premier League twice. That was done by Man City as they won it with 72 points. We just drew too many games this season. In the Community Shield, we couldn't win that, as Arsenal got the better of us 2-1 in that. In the FA Cup, it's a huge upset as Derby County, a League 1 side, has gone and won the FA Cup against us. So huge disappointment there for us, but it will be cool to see a League 1 side in the Europa League. However, in the FA Cup, Arsenal win 3-2 on penalties against Crystal Palace. In the Champions League, that was won by Real Madrid as they beat Inter in the final. Inter got the better of us in the quarters as they knocked us out on penalties. As we then take a look at the Europa League, that was won by Ajax 2-1 against Villarreal, and the Conference League was won by Man United 4-1 against Vitoria. And as you would expect, for a 96 rated player, Jobe Bellingham has got himself 38 goals and 16 assists in 62 appearances. An insane output from the English cam. He's been on fire this season. As for Kilishoy with 23 goals and 5 assists, not a bad output. Now from the 91 rated man, Diune, who joins him at that same rating with 21 goals and 8 assists for the Spanish winger. Rigg picked himself up a suspension, however that's not going to really matter because it's the end of the season. 10 goals and 11 assists for the English winger. As we move now on into Season 8, we won't be in pot 1 again because we failed to win the Premier League or the Champions League. So that means we're going to have to do it against some tougher teams in the league phase. Will that really stop us though? We're going to have to find out. Let's bring on Season 8. So to kick off Season 8, I've gone and signed William Saliba for 70 million euros from Ipswich Town. I have no idea how he ended up going from Arsenal to Ipswich. That just seems like the most career mode transfer ever, but nonetheless, now he's here with us. Now at an 89 overall, we've got the Frenchman at the peak of his powers, and I'm sure he's going to be a huge boost at the back for us this season and for the future. Additionally, I made some bench signings because I feel like that was letting us down a little bit because we didn't really have any depth for our attackers. So I've gone and picked up Evan Nilsson from Aston Villa for a fee of 28.9 mil at an 84. And I picked up Antonito Cordero for a fee of 28 mil from Fulham, and he's now at an 82, still 24 years of age, but he's not going to be playing, so I don't think that's really going to matter. So in this season's lineup, it is a lot stronger for Season 8, as now we've got Salakis at 87, and then the backline, it just keeps getting better as we continue to further reinforce it, as we've now brought in Saliba. The midfield is incredible. We've got Bellingham 96, I don't think I really need to say much more about him, and Kilishoy up front at 91 now, and the bench, as you can see, is looking great. We just still got a few players who could do with upgrading, but we've run out of money. With the squad that we have, I think we should easily now be winning the Premier League. The Champions League, I feel like, is a strong possibility. The treble though, I'm not too sure, but I'd love to think so. Let's see what happens at the end of Season 8. So with Season 8 done and dusted, that sees Sunderland win the Premier League with 78 points quite comfortably over Man United, who got 71 in the FA Cup. We win that as well, 3-2 against Burnley in the final. We follow that up with another win in the Carabao Cup. That's 3 from 3 for us this season. We are on fire. In the Champions League, we couldn't make it 4 from 4. Villarreal defeat Leverkusen 3-2 in the final as we crashed out all the way in the playoff round to Feyenoord. I swear we lose to these guys in the playoff in like every single rebuild we do. In the Europa League, Lazio beat Valencia 2-1 in the final, and in the Conference League, Arsenal beat Sturm Graz 3-1. And once again, it was no surprise who our top scorer was. It was none other than Jobe Bellingham at 97 overall, 32 goals and 16 assists for the English cam. He picked up a suspension, but I think he'll be right going into next season. Kilishoy, 30 goals and 5 assists for the Turkish striker, who's now at 26. His numbers are still incredible, and the goals he scored for this club, I just want to know, it's got to be somewhere maybe in the 200s by now. Diune with 28 goals and 12 assists, so 40 goal contributions from out wide for the Spanish winger is not too bad, and Jobe Bellingham with 8 and 8 from the CDM position. We also got Neil getting in there with 7 goals and 13 assists, not too bad from CDM either. Now as we move on into Season 9, I think we should be strong contenders for the Champions League. Otherwise, if we don't do it next season, I think I might be a little bit of a fraud. Anyway, let's bring on Season 9 and see what the future holds for us. So for Season 9, I'm not going to waste your time with just explaining bench signings. I've just got them here. I signed Amad Diallo from Napoli for 65 mil because we lacked a bit of depth on the right hand side. I picked up Malik Tillman from Tottenham for our cam position, and I've also picked up Noah Mbamba for the DM position for 37 million. I just feel like we just needed a little bit more depth, which means that the starting 11 is going to be untouched. It's going to stay the exact same as last season because it is more than capable of winning a Champions League. Like, you look everywhere across here, there is quality absolutely everywhere. I don't think I need to say much more. Now that the bench is fully improved and it's looking a lot better than it was before, can we go on and finally win that Champions League? I guess you're going to have to find out. So Season 9 sees Sunderland with a dominant display in the Premier League, winning it with 84 points, with next closest team being Chelsea with 68. We also managed to get our hands on the Community Shield as we beat Man United 2-1. In the FA Cup, that was won by Southampton as they beat Wolves 3-2. In the Carabao Cup, Liverpool also followed that scoreline, beating West Ham 3-2. In the Champions League, we'll be taking on PSG in the final, which we'll play in a sec. In the Europa League, that was won by Arsenal 3-1 on penalties against Lyon, and in the Conference League, Newcastle defeat Lens 2-1. So it is the day of the Champions League final, the 28th of May in 2033, and we're going to be playing at the Bernabeu. We're taking on PSG, and we have a full strength lineup ready to go here. We're going to quick sim this one, and hopefully we can come out on top at the end of it, and we do, with the substitute Antonino scoring and Jobe Bellingham. It had to be him, grabbing the goals with a late comeback, coming back from 1-0 down to win 2-1 to give Sunderland their first ever Champions League. If you guys did enjoy this one, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, if you want to see more rebuilds. If you guys got any ideas or suggestions that you want to see for any rebuilds, make sure you drop them in the comments below so I can have a look at them. I'd love to see them, and as always, I'll see you in the very next one. Goodbye.